Hello everyone and welcome to a new mekklord video. Today's theme is, did Duel Links players accidentally uncover an entire skill? Skills in Duel Links are kind of getting out of hand. I don't think anyone is going to dispute that. I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, just if you compare what a random skill in, say, 2022, like, let's say, mekklord refinement, completely randomly, to a skill from 2025, like, let's say, Reign of Shadows, I think the differences in quality between these two skills is apparent. We went from, hey, this is basically two switcheroos, to, hey, you just get 2+1 and also get a free body on ball if you go second. And also some more cards in your graveyard for disruption or extension. And also we put a floodgate in your extra deck because this is what Duel Links is. Skill power creep is real, and it's getting a bit obscene. And players are upset. So upset, in fact, that we keep getting these threads every now and then asking for Gore's famous anti-scale skill to be added to the game, which is a skill designed to completely nullify other skills. Which I don't think is a good idea, but it certainly doesn't stop Duel Links players from thinking this is absolutely necessary and would only improve the game. Wait, what? 7 years ago? Summoning a 3500 attack monster on the field for no reason. Are they talking about Elements Unite? Big attack, did you lose to Gate Guardian 7 years ago? They had 500 life points! Just activate Sparks! Anyway, I'm getting off track. Point is, I don't like the anti-scale skill design because I fundamentally disagree with the concept of floodgates as a whole as it pertains to Yu-Gi-Oh! Which just cards that you activate for basically free, and which very rarely negatively affect you. So getting one of those as a skill, which is something that you don't even have to put in your deck or anything, isn't something that I would consider a good design, or that would make the game any more fun or any more interesting. Please ignore the fact that we do have a skill that does function as a floodgate, but under very specific circumstances, and I kinda like this one. It is one of my many toxic traits. I liked Sealed Tombs. Between all the complaining, some Duel Links players noticed that some skills included a very specific word, reveal, which means to show your opponent. Not every single skill that is currently unplayable in Duel Links contains the word reveal. In fact, out of the list that are shown here, 2 skills specifically don't use the word reveal, you just get to send, you don't have to show anything. But I don't think it is unfair to say that the overwhelming majority of meta-defining Duel Links skills do use that very specific keyword. Which is important, because it was the prime motivator behind the following reasoning. If your opponent can't reveal a card to activate their skill for any reason whatsoever, they can't activate the skill at all. So the question then becomes, how do you prevent your opponent from being able to reveal cards in their hands to activate a skill? There's very few actually playable cards in Duel Links that actually force your opponent or both players to reveal their hands. One of them is Mutually Assured Destruction, which actually saw play in a recent tournament top-end list, being ran at 3 copies in a heroes list piloted by D1, one of the Duel Links GOATs, in a tournament that was otherwise a sea of Shadow players and really not much else. Fellow Duel Links tuber Yuki also showcased this strategy, this time using Star Seraph, another deck with decent draw power, but also featured a shark deck using Thousand Eyes Jellyfish, which is a level 5 fish monster that forces your opponent to play with their hand revealed, which, thanks to the skill Chaos Purifying Waterfall, you can just put on the field for free. Yeah, it says so right here. That's just the only part of the skill that matters in that regard. But these strategies only work for certain specific decks that are either able to dig for the one specific card that prevents your opponent from activating their skill, or uses some specific trickery to get a similar effect on the field. And also they only work if you go first, which this is Duel Links, so this is not something that you control. But what if you wanted to go for something a little spicier? Enter Esperoba. Esperoba was added to Duel Links all the way back in 2018. Wait, did we really wait upwards of 6 months for this guy to be added to the game? Jesus. And he came with a very peculiar skill, Psychic Vision. Because this skill was added to Duel Links before 2022, which I think is when Konami decided to streamline the templating and vocabulary of skills to make them actually understandable at first reading instead of just being nonsense words being put together. Psychic Vision reads like a mega info dump. I kinda like it. It reads, use ESP powers to view your opponent's hand until the end of your first turn. Your starting hand will be reduced by 1 card. While this skill is active, you will not be able to view the details of the cards in your opponent's hand, and your opponent will not be able to use card effects that require cards in the end to be revealed to activate/resolve. Long story short, the skill basically removes one card from your hand in order to allow you to spy on your opponent, which is pretty neat. And since the head is revealed to you, they won't get to activate the skill. Hooray! We finally found the anti-skill that we wanted all along. Except this skill isn't actually really good. Here's 3 reasons why. Reason number 1, you get 1 less card in your opening hand. When you're at a card disadvantage, you better hope that the cards that you do get are powerful and, well worth it. Maybe if we had a couple of powerful 1-card combo pieces, this would be a skill worth considering. But this is Duel Links, so these cards do not exist. There are a couple of like 1-card combo cards that do have potential, but they're either hilariously underpowered to the point of not being worth running anymore, or they depend on a very specific skill to enable the 1-card combo stuff anyway. Which brings me to my next point. Reason number 2. If you pick this skill, this is your skill now, so you don't get access to an actually good skill. Since you decided to run Psychic Vision as your skill, you've made the conscious choice of not playing one of the overpowered skills that you are trying to stop from happening in the first place. Skills that have effects that include fixing your hand for basically free and getting a boss monster on the field also for basically free, fixing your hand also for basically free and getting board presence and disruption, getting any amount of boss monster that you like and combo pieces, getting the starter that you need in order to get your combos going, and also getting some disruption or extension or anything that you'd like really. Being able to turn any deck into a combo pile, happy Pride Month everyone, and so on and so forth. I don't think I'm surprising anyone when I say that the main reason why so many of these decks are even considered good in the first place is because they have a really powerful skill to back them up. And it stands to reason to assume, without any proof, that without those strong skills, maybe these decks would not be as powerful as they currently are. There are a couple of decks that can perform admirably without a set skill, but these decks have long been power crept by decks that actually use powerful skills in order to conduct their game plan, and they're not gonna get back to being meta defining anytime soon. Of course, there's also the argument that some recent additions to the Duel Links roster, aka modern cards with modern sensibilities, are powerful enough to justify being played even without the powerful skill that they came with, but we'll never really know because they came with a really powerful skill to begin with. And last but not least, this skill has a third hidden weakness. It only works going second. Because of the very specific wording on this skill, you stop getting its effect at the end of your first turn. Meaning that if you happen to go first, which again, this is Duel Links, you have no control over this, you only get to spy on your opponent's hand until the end phase, at which point they'll just be able to activate their skill going second, and they'll just be able to combo off and presumably win the game from this position. Congratulations! You picked a skill for one specific thing, it was designed to do one job, and because you went first, you didn't even get to do it. You just wasted your skill, you have 1 less card in hand, and you don't even get to make a funny Reddit post about it. This isn't really an anti-skill, but what if we actually came up with a solution that would try to do the same thing that an anti-skill would do? Which is not to say to punish your opponent from playing a skill, no matter how broken it is, but instead to think the other way around, which is to say, instead of punishing your opponent, what if there was a skill that rewarded you for not playing one of the broken skills out there? Imagine for a second a skill that we're just gonna call Pot of Skill. And what Pot of Skill does is very simple. You can only use this skill's effect twice per duel. If your opponent has activated a skill during their turn or at the start of a duel, draw 2 cards. This is a simple skill design that is meant to close the gap between the insane advantage your opponent is gonna get for playing an archetypal skill and you, who could be also playing one of the meta-defining decks out there, but instead of picking the archetypal skills to go along, you decided to pick this and pray that this is enough. Is it too strong? Is it too weak? I don't know. I genuinely didn't put any thought into this, not just something that I came up with 5 minutes ago. But I hope that this is enough to open a discussion about whether or not such a skill should exist and how it would be implemented in the great and wonderful game that is Duel Links. Not that it matters because Konami doesn't care anyway, and they're just gonna keep releasing broken skills designed to support modern archetypes, so This is all pointless, just like every single video that I've ever made. But at least I hope it was entertaining. It's certainly much better than getting yet another put gold anti-scale scare in the game thread. We get it, you lost to Gate Guardian. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing to the channel, and commenting something nice on the video. If you'd like to support me further, you can check out my Ko-fi in the video description, where you can make a one-time donation or a monthly pledge. I'd like to thank my Ko-fi donators whose names now appear on the screen: Dingus, StylishBoy0, Jimmy, Zinnia, Yannick, Sile, Mark Lou, FortuneLo16, The Abyss Actor Guru, Orc Price, and Exorcist. Thank you all for the support. And that'll be it for today's video. Well, that was kind of a fun one to make. I'll try and make more videos of this kind in the near future, so stay tuned for that. I have so many ideas, but I'm too lazy to commit to any of them. Thank you for watching once again. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all next time.